Well, out here in a spot that I used to shot on quite a bit years ago, and there's been this dead deer out here. It was a shedded buck, first found it probably 5 years ago out here, and the bones have been sitting here for a while. I noticed today that, well, the deer has all been in like one spot where it died, but now there's just bones laying everywhere throughout this grassy field. And they're just picked up, torn out of the grass, just sitting right on top of the grass. And then right here, I'll show you. So I just seen a couple bones back there, and I saw the head from a distance. I was, oh, go check it out. I get over here and there's, Gatorade bottle, a couple other pieces of garbage, and an old shed laying right there. Yeah, right here, this is that old shedded buck that had died just down in here years ago. And here's a coyote chew toy. You can see all the tines are kind of nibbled on. And you can clearly see how old this is, all cracked up, dry rotted, whatever. It's probably, probably fell probably like, I don't know, at least 3, maybe 4 years ago. Definitely more than 2, maybe even 5. I mean, a shed this small, they could literally drag right down to their den. Who knows? This area does get shed hunted, definitely more now than ever before. I just had 2 cameras stolen out here, so it's definitely other people. That's the main reason why I came here today, just to probably take my cameras down, just get an idea of what bucks are out here in the wintertime. I did check them in December, so I know what bucks made it through kind of, but I don't really hunt here a whole lot much. So anyways, that's a cool bonus. Wasn't expecting that. Finally got off of work a little bit early today, around 1 o'clock. I'm at the second spot now. Trying to catch my breath because I was just chasing some deer out of this thick stuff here. I was coming through it. I heard them get up the first time. I looped around them. I cut back in. I cut back out to see what... I was trying to see what they were. If they were bucks, does. They ended up being just... looked like 2 does. And as I ran... I just walked through here by these giant cottonwoods before I cut back in to try and push them out. And I was going through here real fast, kind of. And I walked within 10 yards of this probably. I just seen it now. A little bit after I pushed him out of here. Crazy. So right here are my boot tracks from probably 5 minutes ago. I went in right there. And coming back this way, right here's the shed. Fresh one. We just got this snow. Not last night, but the night before. Some of it's melted, but there is still quite a bit. Some of this snow is probably snow from the original deep snowfall that didn't melt yet. Wow. Looks like a good 2-year-old or so, maybe 3-year-old. Base is right there. I'm gonna get a couple pictures. I'll pick it up. That's cool. I mean, there's no tracks around here, nothing. I knew it would be kind of hard to see something today, with this new snowfall we got, but you see a lot of areas over there and the grass is already melted. All right, here we go. Wow, pretty good G2 on there. That's pretty fresh too, look at that. Probably fell just a couple days before this snow. Really nice G2 on there. Probably, like I said, 2-year-old, maybe a small 3-year-old. It's hard to say. But yeah, pretty nice shed. Well, now I'm gonna walk till dark. I was kind of heading my way back because this place doesn't have amazing sign. Obviously all these fresh deer tracks are within the last 2 days, but you could just see overall there's deer in here, but not as many as some other spots. So that would, you know, make sense why I haven't been seeing many boot tracks. But then again, like I said, everything's been covered up with this snow. It's hard to see, you know, before that. But sweet, I'll take that any day, man. Finally, been out most of the day since about 10 o'clock. This is the second spot of the day, and finally came up on one here kind of within the last hour and a half here. This is just a big nasty buckthorn area. You can see behind me here. I'm in a little bit of a grassy clearing here. Kind of just headed my way back, and I probably seen it from, I don't know, 10 yards away. All right, so the shed's in the picture right now. And you can see all this tipped over buckthorn and the grass growing up through it, just creating awesome side cover and deer habitat. Right here's where I seen it from. Looks like a decent 2 or 3 year old. Oh, it's got quite a few coyote chew marks too. Probably didn't fall right here. Probably just, I don't know. Doesn't look super fresh. Awesome. All right, here we go. All busted up. That means there's probably some bigger ones in here. Might be kind of fresh. The wax ring is all completely there. Probably would have been a lot darker if it wasn't laying out here. It's already kind of bleached looking. But yeah, definitely been moved around. You see all these little chew marks. It's not focusing now, but whatever. That's awesome. Probably on mile 10 or 12 by now. It's been a while since I found my last shed. I just came up on probably maybe the biggest shed I'll find all year. Earlier today, we found a dead shed buck, probably like a couple 100 yards that way. Looked like it's been dead for, I don't know, probably a couple weeks. It's kind of fresh. I mean, most of the hair's still there. And Augie had to leave a little bit early. I stayed in here looking. I didn't think I was going to come up on it, but sure enough, this has got to be him. This is huge. So I've just been zigzagging in here. Like I said, the dead buck is over that way. I was basically heading this way, but I probably would have found it if I would have went that way too. But anyways, I turned this way right here. And I got right here and I seen it. Look at that. Oh my God. And unfortunately, it's already chewed, which is surprising. I mean, there's a couple oak trees in here. There was a cluster of oaks just back that way. And I guess there's squirrels in here. This is definitely right in a bed right here. Who knows how much she actually uses this bed. I mean, there's bedding throughout this whole place. This is probably just a random bed in the buckthorn here, but man. And it looks like it's been on the ground a while. There's hardly any wax ring. Man, that's a big base. All right, so I just got a bunch of pictures. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Still a little bit of wax on there. Man, he's got beating like crazy. Got a little kicker thing off the back here. Wow, that's got some mass. Man, that's probably like that's probably a 70-inch antler right there. Wow, doesn't have the greatest beam length, but man, the mass is unbelievable. That buck we found had really big pedicles, probably one of the shedded bucks that I found dead over the years with the biggest bases. I even told Augie that, and man, this thing has got to be him. Unfortunately, he's probably dead. Well, he is dead. If this is probably, I doubt there's another one in here that big. But yeah, not chewed too bad, but hardly at all, really. Man, that's crazy. I knew I had a chance of finding it because it's still somewhat early, and I have found sheds in here in the past in April, and it's just a real big area, and you got to get lucky in here. There's been pretty decent sign throughout the whole place. Wow. Kind of bladed G2. I'll have to score this when I get home, but yeah, this has got to be right around that 70 mark. Maybe even a bit over. Who knows? This is good. That'll probably be my biggest all year. I'd be surprised. Usually I find 1 or 2 around that 70 mark. If that's the biggest of the year, that'll still be a success on the year. That's why we shed hunt right there. Pick up one of these. Well, we're just walking down here. We're on a big private permission farm I've walked for years. Friend of the family. I think we see one already. Not sure if it is, but seen this at the top of that little berm there. I honestly don't know if it is. It could be just some stubble. Yeah, I think it's just some stubble, but we'll see here. If it is, it might be old. Yeah, that's nothing. Never mind. Well, we just regrouped like literally just 30 yards that way by this ditch. We're gonna walk around it and hit the other side. And Cole just stumbled up on a shed here, a really old one, crazy looking thing. Look at that. I don't know what you call that, like a split main beam. Crazy thing. That thing's at least 4 years old. I don't know. Pick it up. That might even be a snap off. Let me see this. I don't know, it's so hard to tell. It's got some old chewing and some fresh chews. Might be a break off from a fight, or they chewed the whole base. I don't know. That's a crazy looking one. Huh. Man, that'd have been a cool one to find fresh, but man, that's at least 3 years old. Probably maybe older. Yeah. Wow. First one of the day.
I can't believe this. Like,
we just grouped up again, and again, Cole's leading and he sees them. Man, that's crazy. Match set. Dude, this is like, these look pretty good.
yeah, they do.
We were just getting up to these pines. We're like, you really think there's gonna be much in here? Because all the bedding is mainly down there in the buckthorn. Don't pick them up yet. I'm gonna get a couple pictures. Perfect side-by-side set. That buck's got a lot of crazy character going on there. A split kind of starting on this side. Let me get a couple pictures.
Man,
yeah, that's
that
probably
nice. This is really unique here.
That's probably like a stud 2-year-old. Here, let me see that. Pick up the other side. Wow.
Wow.
Not even chewed, really?
This is crazy. They're just
here, hold them together.
Right next to each other.
Yeah, that's like a real stud 2-year-old. Man, let me see this. Yeah, I don't think that's a 3-year-old. He just doesn't have the mass and the overall size. That's just a really nice 2-year-old buck. That thing's gonna be a monster in like 2 years if he makes it. I know there's definitely a lot of deer in this area that have kind of like this, not like a true split, but it's just like a webbed G2 where it looks like it wants to get like a true split, but it just ends up webbing like that out. Man, that's pretty cool. Well, we'll be covered. We literally just stepped in these pines. We just walked like 10 acres of buckthorn down there. And we were like, well, let's walk all that and then grid all that. And then we'll come up here and walk some of these pines. We weren't sure how much we were going to walk up here in these pines, but now, I mean, it's only like probably like probably like 5 acres, but we're going to cover every square inch of it now. This thing was probably just bedding right here. Let me see how fresh that looks. Could be potentially kind of fresh, but maybe it could have very well dropped a month ago too. It's just hard to tell being in the shade like this. This wax ring isn't going to disappear too quick. They're pretty dark yet too because it's not really in the sun. Wow.
Man. This is insane.
Well, just checking out the last spot of the day here. Got about an hour left. Just found this old deadhead. Looks like from last year. And we were just coming in from this big mowed grassy field, and we just heard like, it sounded like a bunch of deer just get up and jump across the river here. And right here is one of their fresh beds. This is usually just a lot of does in here. Right here's the deadhead. But it seems like these bucks are starting to disperse now that the winter's kind of over. It's supposed to be almost 70 degrees next week. There's still quite a few bucks holding. Ah. That's been laying here for a couple years. It's pretty brittle. It's been like 2 years since I've been down in this section. I usually never found a shed down here, but little deadhead. Probably died right in his bed right here. There's most likely a buck bed right here. Well, there's a bed right here too. This is probably does. Absolutely crazy. Insane luck. I just got in here. This is a spot where I've shed hunted this area for the last 3 or 4 years. Usually I find 1, maybe 2. That one year I found 4 of them, the 2 side-by-side sets out there closer to the interstate. You can probably hear it in the background. I believe this shed has probably been sitting here for 2 years. I just looked at my onX map. I came within 10 yards of it the last 2 years. This is just like a little cottonwood buckthorn area that there's occasional beds in. Probably was here the whole time, but now it's getting chalky white. It was a little easier to see, but man, I almost walked right by it this year too. So literally I could have walked along the ridge there. I could have cut into the buckthorn here. I could have went more that way. I don't know what caused me to come through right here, but jumped across this log, just coming through like this. And I'm going quite fast because there's quite a bit of ground here to cover, and I'll probably have to come back here one of the days this week because I want to cover this spot good before I head down to Iowa this next weekend here. So I'm just coming really good, like fast like this. And then this is when I seen it. Almost walked by it. I could have kept on going, but I just caught it out of my peripheral because it's so white. And I did run a camera here 2 years ago, probably 100 yards that way in a grassy opening. And that was the year I found the double match sets right next to each other out there. And I think this might be the bigger 10-pointer. He's not big, but the nicer one I had pictures of. And that same year, someone else found a side off that 10-pointer and walked right by the camera, showing it off or whatever. But I think this could be him. If this is the buck I think it is, this would be a 3-year-old shed. It's been sitting out here for 3 years. But it could very well be a different buck. I'd have to get home and look at pictures again. That should be a pretty identifiable, pretty tight curve. Unique G4 on there, how it's like way on the inside. It's hard to say though. It's definitely been sitting here for more than a year. Most likely 2, but potentially 3 years if this is the buck I'm thinking. That is crazy. I mean, there's beds all around here. See this fresh hair right here? Crushed down leaves. I've walked right through here and I just seen boot tracks back that way about 200 yards on a deer trail. I cannot believe this thing sat here this long, but it must have been a dark antler and it's finally getting lighter, so it's easier to see. I don't know.